All right, welcome back everyone to our new video game book club game. As it is Preston's pick, where we are
Yeah.
going to talk about Bramble. I will say one thing. I was looking forward to this game, Preston.
hmm
Um, I am a sucker for any European lore based game. Like
You really
I
are.
love
Folklore
the lore.
too.
I really
Nightmares.
am.
Folklore is good.
When it
Yeah.
comes to folklore, yeah. So this ticked all of my boxes. I won't say
Yeah.
anything
It's
else,
good.
but like
Can
I
I
am a
just say,
sucker for that stuff. So
I do have something to say.
okay,
I am interested to see how the talks about this game go. The only reason I say that is because there are definitely parts of this game that you could totally see as like spooky
spooky.
adjacent.
I knew
Oh
you were
yeah,
gonna say
no, for
spooky.
sure. I
I
got
knew
a
you were
jump
gonna say
scare
spooky
moment. Yeah, you're
adjacent.
fine.
And I did not hear a fucking peep out of the two of you who normally all you guys do is fucking
It's
whine
not that
about
bad. It's
spooky
not bad.
games. And so I'm like, man, it is hilarious that if anybody else suggests a spooky, oh, he's too scary. I'm not having fun. He's too scary. But then we did a listener one, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's not that bad. This isn't that spooky.
It's
Meanwhile,
it's not that
fucking,
spooky. It's more creepy than spooky. But yeah.
We all played
oh,
Metro and enjoyed
Yeah.
Metro, so
The issue I have is
we
jump
never said we
scares.
weren't having fun.
you guys plenty of times during Metro even were like, this is a little bit much. Fuck you. Like you got very upset.
There were
Well,
times
you
as
go up to a
much.
wall
So.
and a guy jumps at you from outside the wall. It's like, okay, you guys are assholes and doing a jump scare for me. But it's, yeah, that's other than that, I was fine. No way to tell
Yeah.
like how we actually felt about it. So yeah,
No
let's
way to
continue
tell.
on.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Well, I
right,
want to
that's
get
yours,
into it.
Preston. Take it away.
Yes, sir. All right. This is Bramble the Mountain King. It's released in 2023. The first game from Dim Frost Studio. Dim Frost, one word. So yeah, as like the little blurb they got on the Steam community page or the Steam store page. Bramble the Mountain King is a grim adventure set in a world inspired by dark Nordic fables. Explore the beautiful yet dangerous and twisted land of Bramble in your endeavor to rescue your sister, traverse a wondrous landscape, and survive deadly encounters with Bramble's many hideous creatures. Yeah, it kind of gives you a good idea. I mean, I keep on forgetting like what type of fables and like what lore they're kind of pulling in on mythology, but yeah, it's Nordic. But yeah, we can just kind of get right into it. I don't think I had anything else about the way it was made. Obviously, all recent systems, so PS4 onwards. So you got PS4, the Xbox Series, and the PC and Switch as well.
Has this studio done any other games?
No, it's the only game I
I
saw.
don't think so.
It's through Steam. It didn't tell me any other games. I Googled it too. I didn't find anything. But yeah, Dim Frost, all one word. If you want to take a look. But I looked up a little bit yesterday. I didn't find any other games. I found the games from that same publisher, but I could not find anything from them as far as any other games they made. All right, so this game has this little animation style. Not completely puppet-like, but when you see your characters, I think it is a little bit puppet-esque.
Yeah.
But we'll just go ahead and start off. There's a lot of narration.
A writer found its daughter. That's the other game that I.
A writer found a star. Okay.
Are you familiar with that?
A writer and his daughter.
So I take it by the fact you got that wrong that you're not familiar with that game.
No, the font is just really fucked up on their website, so I had to
Oh,
click on
are
to
you?
get to the Steam
Do you
page.
know that? Do you
No,
know that
it's a
game?
VR game. No.
Okay,
Oh,
just the way,
okay. It's
like
probably
I was gonna
not
ask
for
you
me.
if you knew what it was, but I was like, oh, by the fact that you got the name wrong, then you don't know what it is because I've
No,
never
it
heard
seems
of it
it seems generally positive from the people who had a VR headset to play it.
Yeah, for those of you.
But that's it. Those are
either.
the
Okay,
two, which is kind of crazy that that's the two games they've had. But
It must be like a newer studio. Like they must have just recently opened up. I
said
think. Yeah.
they started out in 2017, so relatively new. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, probably a small team. They made the VR game and then they probably started working on this.
Yeah.
All right, there's going to be a lot of narration in the game itself. I will not be quoting the entire thing. I'll just be kind of going through the bits and paces. I'm going to keep on going until we get to the end of the part. If there's anything, I'll kind of leave some spaces and miss sentences. If there's anything you guys want to chirp in on and be like, oh, I remember this or this what happened to me in the section, feel free to stop me and kind of interrupt me. So yeah, at the start, a narrator talks of a boy who wakes from a nightmare. The game starts very dark. It's black. And you kind of just hear some noises and then You get the imagery. It's a boy waking up. You walk around. Oh, sorry. Who notices? Let me start it over again. So at the start, the narrator talks of a boy who's waking from his nightmare, who notices his sister's not there to comfort him. You walk around the room interacting with objects. So you got some things like little toy soldiers that you kind of stand back up. There's like a matchbox that kind of shows you a little bit of like what you could do with some interactable objects to where like you're towing this around to look at it, kind of like you do with a lot of games and 3D objects. Well, with this one, it's a matchbox, so it slides open a little bit, and if you get it at a right angle, all the matches will fall out of it too. And then the kind of big one that's in there is a fable book. You will find these here and there, not a whole lot of them as far as what I found. But one was a fable book about a girl who snuck out and was taken essentially by the forest and the bramble. And then there are quotes as well.
Did you find more than one? I found two.
I found two.
But it was like
two.
in the critical path. Did you find more than that?
No.
I've only found two.
I think
you kind of
I
made it
wanna
sound like
say-
it was a collectible, and I was just checking on that one.
So I knew nothing about this game when we started, right? So you
Same.
picked it, and I was like, cool,
Then I
I'm
didn't see
just
a
going
trailer.
blind.
Yeah.
I know nothing. Yep, I didn't even watch a trailer, right? So we started up. This book was the first glimpse into me going,
it goes there.
I might know what this game is about to go for. And it was because I literally was, you open the book to Alex's point of loving European folklore. They clearly just love to control their children by fear.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yep.
you
Yeah.
see in this book the little girl who sneaks out, and then it's like, and then she gets caught up by the bramble and blah 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 blah, and the narrator
up her
does not
arm,
do
too.
it justice that she's getting eviscerated on this page, like. So you from top down, right? Like there's the girl's head, and she's like, "Oh God!" But then like her arm has like a bunch of cuts and blood all over it because one of the brambles. Her leg, if you guys look, is in actual pieces. Like
Yeah.
it is getting
Chunks
ripped
out.
apart
Yeah.
and is like chunked up down on the ground. And it was like, oh word, okay. Like I literally, as soon as I saw that, I was like,
It's a big tone setter. for
I
sure.
have a feeling I have an idea about how this game is about to go. And we'll get into more of it, but there's some moments where I was like,
Jesus.
yeah.
There's some shit that happens in this game. But yeah, you find out a fable book about the girl who snuck out and was taken by a bramble, and even the narrator is like, she quotes the mother being like, this is what will happen to you if you sneak out. And of course, when you're walking around the room, you see the window slightly ajar with a rope.
Homegirl gone.
Hey, I have a sister. I know you guys got sisters. I don't know if this ever happened to you, but I can't say my sister didn't sneak out of a window when she was in high school to go hang out with people. Like I guess it's a thing
We were
kids do.
we were on a split level, so you could just go
sure.
downstairs and walk straight out the back door. So
That's
no windows, just walk out the back door and
No,
Uh,
my mom had to nail the window
my-
down.
I can't speak to my younger siblings because I wasn't living there at the time. It may have happened with myself and then my sibling that was closer in age. No, my parents believed in physical violence.
yeah, but you also
No,
grew
no,
up
no,
at a
no.
time.
Like, I'm saying, no, it did not happen.
Well, but was there ever an age? So like when I got, I don't know, probably in my early teens, 13, 14, like we grew up in a time, and I grew up in such a small area, right? Like I snuck out of the house and walked up the street and got into shenanigans with friends at
Nope.
2, 3 in the morning and
Nope.
came home. It was never
Never
a
did it.
thing. Really?
To be fair, when I was a teenager, like when I was in high school, I was in a band that was like traveling around, so I was out late naturally anyway. And like, as long as my mom had a way to contact me,
Same. Yeah.
she did not give a fuck what.
I would just tell her
Like,
where
it
I was.
fine.
I didn't tell her
Yeah,
what
I
I
would
was
just say
doing
this is
while I
where
was
I'm
out
at.
there, but
Yeah. Yes. That part.
she
I
could
never
call my
said,
friend Kyle's grandma if she really wanted to find out what the fuck is my kid doing, kind of deal.
Yeah. I never said what I was doing, but I definitely said where I was going or whatever. If I had ever been caught sneaking out, the punishment I would get would have never been worth whatever I was going to go do. And I mean never. Like,
Yeah.
I would have probably had teeth missing. Like, it wouldn't. No, I'm all good on that.
My parents made me believe I would go to hell if I did anything that bad, so it's, yeah.
I
fear of God burning.
didn't have anything like that. It was just
Yeah.
if I like, yeah, but no, I would just say straight up like, hey, I'm gonna go hang out with so and so. I'll be back at like 2 a.m. Who knows? Blah blah blah, whatever. And that was cool. As long as I could be contacted and everything was happening, that was fine.
Yeah.
But
I was hung out
if
with a
I
friend
was
whose
like,
parents didn't
I'm
care
gonna
what he was
lie, like, and I got caught, fuck
doing.
no.
Bad idea. Yeah, bad news bears.
Yeah.
All right. So we see the rope and everything like that. After you go searching through most of the things in the room, it will give you a prompt so you can actually go down there. So you go and search for her in the night because you said that, her not being there is worse than all the nightmares that you have to deal with. So you went to go find her. You
It
walk.
just, it just, so just to be clear, the story in that book is she walked into the forest, a forest that was known, a forest that was very welcoming and pretty, and she was
Mhm.
excited. But the deeper she went, the scarier it got,
Yep.
and it turned bad.
Turned
That's
bad,
what it.
bad.
That's what it
Yeah,
was.
turned bad.
So
You walk through. You start walking through the forest with more narration. It seems like a normal forest at night. Just starlight lit. Nothing scary happening. Just little chirpies. You find a matchbox with a key. I'm not sure if we figured out what we did with the key. I'm not sure if like one of the doors we
not
messed with
yet.
later on actually used it, or if it will show us that we used it yet. But yeah, we got the key. And do some light platforming. So as you go around, this is very, very light platforming for most of this, like especially this half of the game. To where it's like you're walking around, you're maybe like jumping on a sledge, or going across this little stick or like a log across like a little creek or something like that. Nothing crazy, just kind of just going like, hey, you are going to be doing this the entire game. And yeah, so you do a little bit of platforming and you end up falling into a hole. So as you fall into that hole, your character, or Ollie, is kind of just holding his arm a little bit.
Ule.
Ule, yeah, the
Ule.
ule.
Sorry.
Ule.
Yeah, I'm not going to get the accent on that one. So as you're walking, as you fall down this little cave hole, you see like a light in the distance. And it's a statue holding a very bright light. So you go to grab it, and you end up climbing up a gorgeously moonlit, kind of like cliffside, mountainside, whatever you want to call it, following a girl singing. So as you kind of continue following up the linear path, you do find your sister in this
So right
little
here-
like, area.
So as we're walking up, this was also a second hint that I had that something like that the, let's say, game over animations were about to be particularly nasty, and this was only sound. So what happened was, as I got up there, if you look off just to the right, there looks like something that you can get to over there. And so I was like, oh, I'll just try to jump and see if I can get there. Jumped, it was an invisible wall, and it pushed me off the side of the hill, and so Ule falls. When he falls, though, the sound is like this. It sounds like when Doom Guy rips apart a demon
Oh, sure.
in Doom Eternal or Doom 2016. Like, it's like this like
Yeah.
squelching noise, and the kid just is like, bleh, like it just like. And so
I'll
I
let
fell
you
and
guys
died
know.
like that.
I'll let you guys know where I died the first time, and it was not pretty.
And so
Yeah,
it was that, and so the game doesn't show because the camera was all fucked
Yeah.
up because of the angle.
But you know.
But I heard it and I was like, oh, okay,
Gaping and brewing.
like, yeah.
All right.
That's funny.
So you do go up there. You do find your sister up there. She's kind of singing on the little cliffside mountaintop. And you end up showing the light to her. Gets a little more narration. These characters don't really talk to each other. Make little chirps, make little merp sounds, and then you just get the narration on top of that. So your sister remarks, or at least the narrator remarks that your sister said, that it's light as a feather. And this is where we get the throwing mechanic tutorial. So this will kind of show you how you can, throw this orb, because she's going to throw up an acorn up in the air, so you can kind of hit it. She holds onto it as well. You get to a point to where you throw it at her, and she misses the catch, and it almost goes off the cliffside as she grabs it. So you go up there like, yeah, they hug, and as they hug, they both fall off the cliffside. You end up sliding down and meet what I thought was weird. This is kind of where it kind of threw me off. I was like, wait, what are we doing now? Not only is it in the daytime, but you seem to have shrunk. So toadstools are very big, and everything else is larger.
You progressively shrink for 3 levels.
Yeah, I noticed
I don't know
that.
if you noticed, like, yeah, at first you're just smaller than a toadstool, and then you're slightly taller than a rock, and all of a sudden you're shorter than the blades of grass. Like you progressively shrink
I
Mm-hmm.
don't
in
know that it's a
size.
I don't know that it's a progressive shrink because you're still the same height against like some of the other characters in the
Items
game.
like
I
an
guess
apple or
is a
something like that. Yeah.
well, no, like I don't want to. You're gonna get there, but like the little gnome creatures,
Sure.
right? Like
All
Yeah.
the same size
no matter
variable
what,
kind
you
Well,
of.
always stay the
Okay.
same height there. I think that there's
I think no, I think that's the smallest you get because before that they have a couple of side like viewscapes in a couple levels previous. By the time you get to the gnomes, I think that's the smallest we are.
Yeah.
But up leading up to that, I think there's a couple cutscenes where it's a progressive, like you're a little smaller, and finally
oh
then
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
always
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. I can't confirm that just yet, but okay. So as you notice all that, you start, doing a little bit more of just like a basic like walk along, some platforming, jumping on toadstools like that, walking across little sticks. And then as you come up, you see a little gnome. Uh, Oddly, very baby-like. They're making little cuckoo sounds, and the faces look a
Hated
little
it.
babyish. If you
Hated it.
guys walked up to this birdhouse before you got to like the gnome area, you see a little fairy comes out.
yeah.
Doesn't really do anything, just kind of pokes his head out, screams at you, then goes right back into the little birdhouse. But yeah, you go and run to find the gnome. I guess like a little gnome church is there, and so that the bell's ringing and tolling, and then you see the bell fall. So you go inside the little building. You hear the little gnome crying, so you go touch the one interactive object you have there to pull up this bell. Of course, the gnome doesn't move, so you got to pull up all the way until it's done, and then you helped it out from underneath that bell, and then it just essentially you follow it towards his home. On the way there, you also see an old one, so it's not just like they're all babies. So also not like your typical gnomes with like a long beard and stuff like that, and a little,
Hmm.
I guess, grumpy sounding is I guess what you call it, but little humps here and there kind of deal.
The crying is a little not the crying, but the noise. The baby noises are a little unsettling.
Not only unsettling, but later on in this part of the
Yeah.
game, like there's annoying to a point. I feel a little bit here and there is fine, but there's a part to where there's a bunch of them crying, and you're doing a whole thing and trying to figure out how to work a mechanic and like a little puzzle kind of deal. It's a very simple puzzle, but you're hearing them
Yeah.
crying and going the entire time. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, and just
So
mute for a minute.
I'll tell you, I'll be honest. I never found it. I never found it annoying.
Yeah,
I
for me it was
found it.
unsettling.
Well, I think it was two things. Yeah, for me it's two things. So it was unsettling for sure, but there were some times, like to your point, Preston, where it seemed like it went on too long, and it was uncomfortable in like a weird way. Like I realize I'm dealing with baby. Like you're giving me all these baby sounds. I realize I'm dealing with kids in these puzzles, but also like I don't want to keep hearing these baby sounds because I'm just
Yeah.
doing mundane things. So it's not like I wasn't annoyed by it, but it's uncomfortable. But I think that's what they were going for, is that little like just make you feel a little
A
like,
little
okay,
weird.
this is
Yeah.
weird, right? Like a little creepy or
Yeah.
unsettling. Yeah.
Okay. Well, as you follow that one off to its little hobbit home looking thing, it ends up whistling out to get a whole bunch more out there because you try to open the door, you can't open the door or the double doors there.
Hmm.
He whistles out. A whole bunch of gnomes come out, and you end up having you play a game of like hide and seek. So this is where it goes like a first person mode. You kind of get the whole like the stage in front of you, and you're gonna look
Alex's
for
favorite FF14
Except for
mini
Yeah.
game.
I
Yeah, is
know, I
it?
knew you were gonna say
Yeah.
that.
Is that like that old mini game in FF14 that I'm assuming?
It's I
There's
hate
a hide
it.
and seek thing, and every single time it happens, he screams. He hates it so much.
I'm sure you love this a little bit.
This was fine. This was fine.
Sure. So you do play a little hide and seek. There's like 9 of them or something like that. Pretty good hide and seek game. Like none of them are like super obvious. Like most of them are pretty fairly. I mean, there's got red pointy hats, so you can kind of just look out for those. But like 1 or 2 right there at the end, I'm like I can kind of hear them. I'm hoping that the sound is like directional, so like I'm kind of looking for the direction they're coming in, which it was. But there's like 1 or 2 that I just was like evading my eyesight, and I finally found a couple of them. I finally found the last 2 at the end, but a couple of them did fool me. They did hide pretty well, I thought. So you get them all out there. They help you open up the door. You go a little bit further. You find one of those elder ones, and I'm guessing he wants you to help you. He wants you to help him corral I had no idea what these fucking things were. They looked like little
Little things, with pumpkins on their
baby
heads. What it looked
creatures
like
with
to
Cabbage
me.
like
Patch
bulbs
Kids.
on their heads. Yeah, they're like little plant people
Yeah.
to put down there. So you crawl a couple of them. I tried to get an extra one in. I did get an extra one in at the end. Just do two at once at the very end. Nothing special happens. You continue on. You end up jumping on a bunch of lily pads, going across this. This is all with your sister, by the way, still. Jumping on the lily pads, going all the way through, and the last like little rock or whatever you jump onto ends up rising up, and this would be the Toad King. Luckily, as frightening as he may be, he is very nice and friendly, and he just gives you a big old lick. You pat him on the head and continue on your day a little bit further.
Just your sister gets looking. She's very upset about it. She gets covered in like weird green mucus and like runs off, and then you're like, "Hey, thanks for punking my sister," and then you pat him and you're like, "Thanks, dog," and then you leave.
Oh, I thought we were the one that got licked, and your sister was laughing.
No.
At you.
No,
his sister.
she gets like we laugh. It's the only time you hear us laugh. We
Oh,
giggle.
right, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're like get dunked on, dork.
You have your first score with the waterfall. No, scare. I'm sorry, scare. I did. My writing last night was fucking horrible. I had the worst fucking penmanship, but I don't want to put it on my phone.
I was like,
That's why I was
"Where's
typing my
score
notes.
the water?"
Yeah,
I'm
like,
staring,
score the
what
water.
could
Like, oh
he
yeah, it's the scare because
possibly
you're walking
be
across
saying?
the thing, and the log starts to go away from you, and you're supposed to. That's where you also learn sprint. So you hold on to that
Yeah.
button so you get across the very last second. It's I don't know. I don't think there needs to be a sprint in this game, but I guess it helps out with like kind of like the urgency of things.
Oh,
when it
I
happens.
found this sprint early on, and that is how I navigate these areas. I'm
Yeah,
running
I didn't use it until that
constantly.
last section. I'm like, okay, well, I guess we can start sprint now.
I
I
found
was
I was button mashing in the beginning, and I was like, what does everything do?" And I found sprint. I was like, "Perfect. I'll be doing this the entire time. Thank you very much."
for a little while I was doing a bunch of jumping because jumping was a lot faster than the normal walk, and I didn't know there was a sprint.
Yep.
Yeah, so you continue on, get past the little waterfall section. Ollie all of a sudden gets entranced by a well. So like your sister walks up to it, she's like, "Oh, down there," oh. And you go like, "Oh, I see it too." And you look down in there, and then all of a sudden the narration goes, and he gets entranced and gets darker and kind of pulls down into the well, getting super super dark, and it pulls back. Your sister is no longer there, and it is now nighttime. A little
Hard to
fairies.
say, at this part, she's like, sometimes Uli gets entranced or whatever, and he just like locks in and like just is like staring into the abyss down this thing. It was kind of wild to me that it's like, so the sister at no point turns around, sees her brother going
Yo.
full slackjaw iPad kid down this well, and doesn't think to herself like, maybe I'll just give him the old tap tap tap-a-roo on the shoulder, but no, you're just like, fuck him, and then like keeps running.
So I didn't spoil myself about anything like later on, especially after part one. I haven't spoiled myself for anything. I'm wondering if this is a dream. I'm wondering if
Yeah,
this is
so
a dream that we're playing through.
I'm with you. I have not spoiled myself on anything, but clearly, not clearly, because we don't know. In my opinion, because we also go back to the top of the mountain a few times, she's not actually in any of these scenes
And
with us.
sometimes your
She's
clothes
not here with
change.
us. Oh, I didn't even pay attention to that one.
So the second time you go, we'll talk about it. The second time we go up to the mountain, you're in like your pajama pants, while before that
Yeah.
you're like in like actual full duds. Because you leave
But
the
then
house
it
in
cuts you
pajamas.
back to your duds after the pajama pants do that
cuts-
first time.
yep, it
Yeah,
cuts
it goes
in
back
and
and
out,
forth.
so
Yeah,
it's-
who knows?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
also
so
pajama
I
pants could have been
don't-
you get knocked out and like dreaming all this kind of thing. But yeah, we can get to it.
That's what I don't think she's there though, in my opinion. But I like you. I don't know.
Imagine, because of this is like old century Europe and stuff, imagine that this is this kid's like fucking fever TB dream.
Yeah. Who knows?
We're making him tea and leaf tea and earth tea.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh, I don't know
yeah.
what's wrong with him.
That blood.
Jesus. All right.
The reason the darkness when like you go in the beginning and look out the hallway door is because the families move downstairs so they don't catch TB too.
Yeah.
You so when it goes to nighttime, there's a ferry around, so you kind of just follow that one. It takes you to your sister, who's also kind of fucking around with the ferry on top of a rock. From here, a troll slowly emerges from behind and snatches your sister. He then chases after you, barely escaping into the creek. This is when, like, I mean, I knew there's gonna be some scary stuff because I've seen the trailers. But this is the first time to where it's like, oh shit, we're getting into the scary stuff now. Your sister gets snatched up, and it's a big ass troll with a big old nose, and he's coming after you.
So he just shoves her in the bag in that scene. I thought for sure, I was like,
Little
there's
chomp.
a chance that he just takes his thumb and is like,
Snap.
boop. Yeah.
They do a good thing with perspective in this game in bunches of scenes.
Yeah.
But where you are the main focus, but all of these creepy things are happening. You can see them. It's not hidden.
In the background.
But they're happening
Little
in
blurry.
like off perspective in the
Off
background, a little
focus.
blurry, a little to the left of the screen or the right screen. I think they use that at times really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's the last section to where they use it, I think, perfectly, and we'll talk about when we get there.
Yeah.
Narrator says that the river took Ollie. Back in the daytime now, we climb around back to the top and find her there, but it goes
Back
black.
to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, back to that.
Right?
This is when the clothing changed to like all of a sudden like, why am I wearing white robes? But it's
Yeah.
like pajama pants or pajama onesie.
So when you
so-
said the river took Ollie, that's because we ran from that troll.
Jumped
And we
into
fell
the
in.
river.
Like,
last
we
minute
jumped. We
before it
jumped. We
could
jumped
snatch
in the water. Yeah. Yep.
So it goes on a little more narration with that after it goes black from seeing your sister, and the Toad King, as the narrator says, kind of spits you out and has saved you from drowning in the river. So you go from there. You end up kind of doing a little bit more walking around, kind of searching for your sister at this point. You find a big troll, and you come across a broken gnome home. So that big troll will kind of help you lift you up. I think this is the part to where we go
That
across
troll is
the bridge.
also getting attacked by a bunch of pinecone warriors.
Yeah. Is this?
Yeah. This is it's Lemus. This one's the stone giant.
Yeah.
Right?
So we saw him a little bit
Limbs,
earlier
yeah.
before you go up to the mountain. I don't know if it's him or just another one because there's a bunch of them at a certain point. But there's a certain point to where there's one in the background that just looks like the back of a mountain, and then
Yes,
it
and it
slowly
turns.
turns to you. All of these giants have Majora's Mask moon eyes. Like
Yes.
if you
Yeah.
look at it, like it's to a tail, I'm
Yes.
like I'm getting like this weird because it's that weird unsettling like stare down. It is, yes, it's a little
So-
much.
Just to be clear, because I think this happens right before you meet Lemus for the first. It does right before you meet Lemus. So if you're looking, if you interact with all the interactables throughout the world as you move around, a lot of them like you're looking at little like wooden creatures. Like
Yeah.
one of them, actually many of them, are acorns with like legs and arms,
Yeah.
right? Like they've made them and
And
they're
to
standing
me,
there.
it was
and,
like
one.
him and his sister just left them in the forest.
Well, that's
when
in
they
the
were
very
having
beginning.
fun.
The acorn trunks
Very
are in
beginning.
the very
Yeah.
beginning. Yeah.
No, well, you can find it many places. So, like, there's another one later in the level where you look at, like, peer through wood and you see them in a circle and other stuff. But, like,
Well,
It
in
all
later
leads-
levels, I think they're alive though.
Yes.
Like I think they're
well, that was right. Wasn't that right here before Lemus the first time?
right. He's getting attacked by a bunch of them. Yeah.
But right before that scene, we fall down, and there's a before we hit the ground.
Nope, this is
No,
later in the
that's,
game.
that's
This
after.
is later.
That's after.
Yeah, so
okay.
here's the thing.
We'll talk about that in a minute then. Yeah.
You don't see them animated when the forest is a normal size.
Right.
And then later on in the
Correct.
game, we do see them animated because they're like, jumping on top of Lemus and everything like that, and you kind of just throw
They're
them.
like
Yeah,
stabbing
bullet.
him.
Yeah.
Throwing rocks at us.
Yeah, so that might be a little bit later on my notes.
Well, they're throwing stick spears at us,
So yeah, you come across a broken gnome home. You get it. It's kind of crying, pointing at this like stuffed teddy off in the corner. So you do a little bit of climbing, and this is like the first time you actually end up pushing something. So you got a little cart you push up so you can climb up to get the teddy. You get the teddy for him. He gives you a key. You end up opening another one of those big doors across a bridge where this is where the eerie stone golem is there. Turns around in the distance. Doesn't do
Okay.
anything to you. I thought it was going to attack me or something, but it just kind of fucking stares at you. And then you find a bunch more, like a smaller one. So like you kind of just take that bridge, you kind of go around the corner, and there's just a bunch of like a glowing-eyed diglets, kind of like all
Yeah.
around you, essentially at that point,
Yeah.
all following you with their eyes. So yeah, you see a bunch of those. You cross a stick and navigate around bear traps. This is the first jump scare.
That was the first time I died. This is the first time I died.
This is the first time I
I did
died.
not
Bear
get
trap.
this did not happen to me.
So
Bro,
I didn't notice the
it's
bear traps at first.
Brutal.
We'll just wait. I'll talk about my experience
Yeah.
with bear traps later, but it wasn't me.
So
but yeah,
I
go ahead.
I didn't notice the bear traps at first. I was kind of like, I'm just going to pull up because it's nighttime. Like it's tall grass. So why don't you see it first? And I get snapped like, oh shit! And I'm like, okay,
Uh-huh.
all right, there's bear traps here. So you navigate around. They don't make it hard to navigate. You just got to pay attention. And I wasn't paying attention
No,
when I first went through there.
but what you're leaving out
But it's
is your
brutal.
body parts go
Yes.
flying.
Well, mine went limp. Mine just
Flying.
went limp and like hanged over. But I'm sure as how
My
you get hit is how it ends.
I I got hit that turned my body sideways and I kind of like starfished. So it took my shoulder, head, everything down, but this arm just took
Flew off,
off
yeah.
and just went flip. Now, Christian, I think I know what happened to you because later you have a couple companions and
Boy, do you.
they will step on those bear traps.
Yeah, it's not easy
And
to
yes,
navigate.
and they fucking just hang there, dude. It's like, and they
Yes,
make this. Yeah, we'll
look
get
at that.
there. Go ahead.
I had that happen too.
So as you are going past all of these and navigating those bear traps, you will end up
So
Yes,
you
there
come
we go.
down the side. You come down the side here, and then
spot
you'll
the troll
see one of
while
the
climbing the
gnomes,
trees in
yeah.
the distance.
Mm-hmm.
You end up finding a gnome on a rope. Now, obviously, it's a trap. I didn't really notice it at first, but then when you fall into it, you kind of see how the grass does look a little bit off color.
So there's no way to skip this, yeah?
No,
Like, you
yeah, no,
can't-
I don't think so.
I thought the same thing, and I was going to ask you guys if you jumped it because I did notice, but I don't think there's any way to
No,
skip
I
it.
have a feeling.
Yeah,
they'll
I
follow
did not
no
try to
matter
jump
what. I
it,
guarantee
but-
there's probably an invisible wall right there that would stop you from jumping the entire thing.
Probably.
Yeah, so you fall down into this little trap right on top of a deer that has been spiked through. And I don't know if you guys noticed this. That deer have fucking human hands.
No,
No.
there were hands from other things.
Other things. Okay, I
People,
could have
yeah,
swore
yeah,
that the
yeah.
hooves had hands on it. I wasn't sure. I put a question mark because I wasn't completely sure. I wasn't 100%
No.
on that.
Both hands?
That-
Question mark.
The,
Yeah, no,
the
that's what it
deer
says,
was a little
human hand.
unnecessary. I was kind of like, where are we going with this? It never got any worse than that, but yeah, it was a little.
Well, I'd argue the next part's a little worse than that, but
Yeah.
Not when, like, animal death, though.
Oh, sure.
Oh.
Yes, animal death.
No,
yeah,
they-
I
no.
mean, well, you can assume that everything, old boy.
Sure, yes,
Mm,
yes,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
we'll get
but
there.
it's different. I can handle blood and gore. That's fine. I just don't.
Just-
Fair.
yeah. So the only way out is through this little big hole in the side. And then you kind of crawl through. You see this like shadow in the distance. Obviously, it's like a butcher of some sort. Evidently, a very large troll. As you kind of breach
the
the
butcher, actually, is
Yeah, it's called the butcher.
Is what he's called.
and then so as you like emerge from the hole into like the butcher's area, the giant pig head just fucking falls right in front of you, kind of setting telling you it's gonna be a scary time. Not gonna be a great time going through here. So yeah, very gross. Walking through all the bloody mush piles of like bits and pieces, and it's just
Yeah.
they got a tech there they use for the mud later on too. It's kind of similar to where it's just kind of like squishy and gushy, and you kind of walk through it a little bit.
Yeah.
You end up kind of just doing some little platforming and crawling around the outsides of here. You end up, and this guy just chooses like the worst places to walk. But you end up like walking like right behind the fucking pig that he's like cutting up, and of course he notices you. He shoves the pig off to the side, and this is where we get like a boss battle. So Troll is giant. He's kind of slinging his butcher.
This was my first death. I don't know if you guys
Oh,
got
was it?
caught here.
So I did, but in the
I
second
did
phase.
get caught here once. Yep.
So
yeah,
he's
second phase. So
Wait,
getting
he
down with the
stunned
blades. He does
Yeah,
the whole thing
I
like
didn't
3
see the
times,
stun
and kind of just
coming.
running back and forth so he doesn't hit you. The third hit, it kind of splashes up some little bits and pieces of whatever's on the blade, and you end up throwing it at the troll. After like the first or second hit, he ends up doing a different type of hit where he pounds his hand down. I didn't know what was going to go on with that. Died immediately to that because he knocks you down,
Bang.
and you can't get
Yeah.
up in time for him to bring the blade down onto you. So, yeah, I definitely died there as well.
you guys just get was it straight cut? How'd you guys get cut? Because mine was like down the middle, like cut.
Yeah,
And I
because you
was
get
like,
I got straight back up but didn't get enough time to move. So
Yeah.
it's just like he's got a beeline on him. He's like
I got turned into two.
He chopped me
fucking
in
shoe-
half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
mine was.
Yep.
I got cut into 2 shoestring fries and just fell both to the side, and I was like,
Yep.
"Damn!" Like,
yeah. Obviously, it's a boss battle, so you hit him 3 times. He knocks over a part of the cage next to you that was keeping you from progressing, so you escape that way. What happens to him after that, I don't know, because he doesn't like try to get you as you're walking along the outside of this wall. I'm assuming he's kind of like trying to clean up his face or whatever. I don't know.
I
He
think
stopped
that's
making
the
noises.
assumption, yeah.
Yep, you escape. Head back down into the forest. You do another pull cart platform puzzle, which this is the one where I felt the babies were annoying because I kept fucking up the pull cart. So like what you do for this one is there's a cart on the left side. You want to pull it up so that way you can jump onto the cart, jump onto the platform to get the guys out. So I pull a little bit, and then I try to stop it right in front of that platform. It starts moving. I'm like, okay, I can't get it. I pull it all the way back, try to stand in front of it to get the cart to move, stop. It'll kill you. Yeah, that cart will straight up just murder you. So I'm like, okay, well, you can't do it that way. And then you do it the last time I did it, and you just jump on it as it's going down. You'll be fine.
What were you? Did you pull? What? Why were you in front of the cart?
So I was trying to stop it in front of that little section. I'm like, okay, well, I'll stop it in front of the section, and then I can get on top of it.
Okay.
It doesn't stop.
Okay.
It keeps going. It runs you over.
That's fair.
I did not run into any issues on that part.
No, I did what Preston did. I pulled it halfway back and then do it far enough, and the second time I pulled it all the way back. It's like, okay, I'll just ride. And
I
jump
pulled
this
it
thing.
just enough, but I just like was holding the sprint button, did the jump, and it was just
Yeah.
enough to catch the ledge,
Yeah.
and I pulled myself up. Yeah.
Nice.
You help them out, and they help you end up opening a door. You navigate some more of these traps, which I'm
So,
assuming
right
this is
here.
where you're going to have your... So
Yeah,
I
man,
lost like 2
so-
guys. I tried to save them all, but I lost
So
like 2 or
here's the
3.
thing. So and just because I want to give the full context, I'll go just right to the little part that's after this. But I did not think that they were going to hit any of these traps. I thought they would stay away from them if I was
No.
staying away from them.
Or like most video games, they would just like NPC over them, just be like walking over can't hurt
Something,
me.
whatever, right? Yeah, no. So one of them hits them, and it's like they're hanging from a fucking
Immediately.
noose.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
they get hit, and their body's just like, bleh,
Dangle.
like they're just like floating there. And I was like, damn, dude.
And they're
then
not the old gnomes either. They're the baby
no,
sounding
babies,
gnomes.
and so it's like it makes this like yipping noise when it gets caught up, and you're like,
bad.
yikes, dude. And
I
then you
didn't
come
check.
down the fucking. So I'm like, oh fuck, my fault, y'all. Like, so I'm like trying to like get them to the door.
But they won't form a single file line. You're like,
No,
just
no, they won't. And so I'm like, all right, so like let's get down. So we go. I get them to their house, and then they get in. I'm like, all right, my fault about your sibling, y'all. Like blah blah blah. And then right when that happens, the fucking troll shows up and stomps out their
the
whole
fuck
fucking
out of
house.
home, dude.
And you can hear them crying. I was like, oh damn, dude, like what are we doing? Like
And think that you're trying to save them the entire time, and you get there, and it's like, oh no, fuck you, it doesn't matter anyways because they're gonna get stomped out. But Jesus,
You're
Christ,
looking
man.
back at the one in the trap, be like, you got the easy thing.
yeah, you're the
friend. At
easy
least
one,
that
man.
was
Like
fast.
you blinked and it was over for you. But like, yeah.
So I'm now forgetting the order at which things happen. So
Yeah.
we have not walked through the Blood River yet, have we? Or have we already?
No.
done
No,
this?
we have not.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
later on. That's after.
No, that's coming up next.
Well, no,
Okay.
I think we got to get cave first. All right. So the troll hears you crying because a whole bunch of babies just got stomped out and you're a child, so you're going to cry about that, obviously. You end up doing some stealth with the trolls. The troll's got a light, and they've got some tall grass here, so this is where you do a little quick run when get the light's going back and forth. You just got to wait for it to move. So you do that a couple times. You get past that little grass area. You come across a branch as you're climbing up on the trees, and it ends up breaking at like the last minute. I giggled my ass off because they hold off because there's a funny fall at the very end of this, but right before you fall into like the cave area, he hits a toadstool. You just hear, "Foop," and this is the funniest like little like
Yeah.
quick like little thump as he hits it. It's fucking hilarious. And then as you go down a little further, it just kind of shows you. I think this is where this is at. Let's see here.
This is where they show you all
this
the
is where they
bear
show you
traps
the
while
acorn
you're
guys. There's one that has a crown on, and they're dancing around each other,
so
chanting.
funny. They're in a circle, and the king in the middle of the circle.
And you just come crashing directly down this acorn. The funny part about it is it goes very cartoonish because that king is flattened.
I know
that
you
acorn's
want to push
flat.
it in, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's an acorn, or the acorn behind
They
him.
just like get
No.
falls
Only one does it.
No, so all of them run except for one, and one of them faints because he saw their king.
But he also makes noise because I tried to kick him out of the
If you
room.
kick
so, like,
him, I ran him around.
he
Yeah,
just goes, "Ow, ow, ow, ew," and then he
So
just makes
funny
little
thing, I
noises.
found out because I was looking at the Steam thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's an achievement to kick him out of the cave. if you
Man,
can
I
roll
was
him
so
away.
close.
Is there? Oh,
I was gonna do it. I'm like, okay, well, nothing's happening with this. I thought kicking him around a little bit would work. I'm
I
like,
thought I got him halfway down, and I was like,
Yeah.
no, it's what nothing's clearly going to happen about this. And then when I logged off,
Man,
I saw it was on there, and it was
gonna.
like kick acorn out of the cage. And I was like,
I was gonna.
man, fuck.
That's funny. I
Yeah,
love. It was just such a funny animation, and I
It
love
was.
when just shows or movies that you pull this off well, right? It's this autonomous thing that shouldn't be live, but you give it live features, and then it does it just like face. You're like, "Oh," it
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
falls
yeah.
falls
over.
over.
It's
Yeah.
just so good.
All right, and now, as Alex was saying earlier, now we're back into the nasty, bloody muck. But in this one, something's chasing us. So it's got kind of it's like a little bump in there. It kind of just rolls around, and as soon as you touch like the main bottom section, it comes after you. I don't know if you can pass this up, but there is a cage that's over there.
You
I thought
can pass this up.
okay because
You
I
can.
thought like I was gonna open the cage up to free
I
whatever's inside of
also
it.
thought that.
Didn't
I
happen.
also thought that. No.
No. You
No.
push it into the muck to get a distraction for whatever's there so you can have a little extra time to get to that end section. Which I was
Dude,
kinda
and
fucking-
the
you get
noise that it
achievement
made,
for
like, it goes like,
Which can we just say? You said to get a distraction. No, you sacrifice this little
Yeah,
gnome.
the trophy is
in-
called
and the
sacrifice.
achievement that pops up is called use the gnome as bait.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bait, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
bait is what the word is. Looking for.
So the second time, because I got eaten the first time because I let it ate that thing, but I waited too long because I was kind of in shock of like what just happened.
What does it do to
So
you
it
when it eats
caught
you?
me.
It
It
just,
takes you
you.
under.
okay,
It
it
takes
just
you
absorbs
under.
you. Okay.
Yeah. But the second time, I was like, well, I'm just gonna wait till it goes back, and then it went back. I reanimated, and I left the gnome there, so you don't actually have to use the gnome.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, it's just there for you. Oh, I can do it this. I'm like, oh my god, I sacrificed him. That's probably what they would do
Yeah.
it for.
Yes, that's exactly what it's for.
All right, so you escape and you see the butcher again. You're climbing along a moldy carcass at one point, which I thought was a nice little touch. Nice is a way to say it. And he catches you because, again, you're walking in a spot that's completely fucking stupid. You are walking around the outside brim of the cooking pot that he is currently working with. He's
Yep.
definitely not going to catch you there. He ends up poking
Guys,
you with
just
his
so we're
little
clear,
foot
if it's not abundantly clear to all of our listeners, Preston hates
stick.
children.
Hate.
Hates children.
You need to get knocked around a little bit. So as you're walking across the pot, he grabs you with a little stick fork and puts you in a cage that you just easily rock out by going back and forth in the thing. You knock acorns off of a stone giant. Oh, sorry, this is where Lemus is at. Yes, you knock acorns off the stone. You see a little stone guy there. Acorns are on top of him. He's like, "Oh, stop it." This is Lemus. So you just use your throwing mechanic. You're throwing things at these little acorn dudes to knock them off, and then he ends up lifting you up to kind of just put you up on this next little section. He does it again like later on in the game.
Well, it's a different one, but yeah.
Is it a different one? Okay, I wasn't sure if it was the same
Yeah.
one or not. As you get past there,
Yeah, because the second one has like a crown, like a flower crown.
yeah, I didn't know if
and
he just
stuff.
like had some fun and felt like giving himself a crown. I'm not sure.
No.
Yeah, all stone giants look the same to me. So as you get past him, you end up getting grabbed up by a troll again. Not again, but you end up getting grabbed by a troll. As he's about to chomp on you, the light that you were holding, the light orb, gets super bright, and now it's daytime, and the troll has turned to stone. I said that there's just there's a very beautiful song right after the end of this at this point because it's nice and bright. You're walking through the flowers and there's just this gorgeous song. I didn't look up what the name was or anything like that, but it's incredibly well done. I'm assuming it's like a Nordic song or like something from like those.
It is. It is good.
It's really well done. So as you're kind of going through a little bit further, you get to a pond with a shrew and a little gnome with a little mount on top of him. So you and the gnome takes you across essentially the pond as this song continues to go on with this little shrew. I think it was a shrew. Do you guys, is it a shrew? Is it a shrew? I didn't look it up. You guys know what the little guy is? The little hedgehog looking dude?
I thought it was a hedgehog.
I think it's a hedgehog. Yeah, it's just a
You think it's
hedgehog.
a hedgehog? Okay, it might be a hedgehog. Okay.
Yeah. Christian, sorry, just so I could say, there is actually an achievement to make it through all the bear traps without killing a gnome.
I know.
I'm
there is,
sure
yeah.
it would be, yeah. That's probably one of the hardest ones. That probably has the smallest percentage of happiness. So yeah, the little shrew and the little gnome take you across the pond as the song goes on a little bit further. You find another giant with little roses around its head, little thing on there. And you got to make it sneeze. So there's these little flower daffodil creatures, dandelion, creatures. And as long as you make them walk towards the giants, the little dandelions will pop up and make him sneeze, which wakes him up so he can lift you up and be your little elevator.
Mm-hmm.
You find another gnome who points to an elder on a rock. It ends up climbing on top of you. You kind of walk around. It's like this like shallow, like chest deep water, I would say. So he stands on top of your head as you kind of walk across over to the elder. After you drop him off at the elder, a song and a trance makes you dance, I put down on here. So you get like a little visual distortion around the outside, kind of like a little oil look to it. And Oli just kind of pops up real quick and he just starts doing this kind of like weird jittery and starts dancing around a little bit. And yeah, you just start walking for no good reason. And you end up going off the side.
It's called having boogie fever, Preston.
Sorry.
Try looking it up, maybe.
Excuse me. Yes, I'll double check on that later. So you end up falling onto the dark hole. You use the light to see and do a bunch of platforming, and you hear like moaning in the background as well. One time when I had the light out and go on the platform, you do see like a figure walking underneath there.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys fall down? Did you just fall, or do you like? Okay.
You will, if you fall. If I fell in other areas, you will die.
Okay, so it's not like that person like comes by and runs and gets you or anything like that. Okay.
Nope.
All right. Well, you're using that moon. You do some platforming. Some of those platforms, crumble and fall. You got some cages that you're crawling around on. I know that one of the last cages, like a dude, like just goes crazy. Whatever's inside of it.
Yelling.
Yeah, whatever's inside of it just starts going nuts. So
it was clever. This area, some of those platforms, like leaning forward and swaying, and like if you stay on long enough, they'll fall forward. Then you can jump. I thought it was well done, and I liked the change of just the darkness, right? Like you had just
actually
the light
using that light a little bit more. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was cool.
So do the courageous platforming and fall apart with a moon in the background. At the end, you end up seeing some like hieroglyphs. So as you're lighting up, can't really get what they were. It kind of looked like a pointy-eared, I'm assuming like a devil kind of figure, like a monster figure. And just showing like little people down there. There's like a lot of wind gusts and stuff coming off of him. And at one point he's like doing it towards him. One point he's like surrounding him. I didn't really did any guys get a story out of that, or other than scary monster hieroglyphs?
So that is giving us hints to what's coming with the Necken, which is those are the music notes. So the sound, it's the sound notes coming off, enveloping people.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So you emerge to another song trance. You're skipping along some lily pads with a figure on a. Would you consider that a fiddle, a violin? What would you consider that instrument?
Fiddle.
Yeah, fiddle. Man,
so this is where Alex's whole like enemies in the background or things in the background. So it's very blurry, and you don't really get this like good details on it. It's just kind of a grayish looking person with long hair. As soon as you get to that first lily pad, song stops. That head just spins real fucking quick. I'm like, that's unnerving. That's too much. Yeah, and just a stare down. And as you're going across, I'm like, okay, well, fuck this. I'm out of here. I'm going fast, but you do notice, like, if you were to stick around, that motherfucker just slowly goes into the water.
So this is why I was excited about this game, because this is the launch trailer that I remember, where it shows your character platforming across, and that's when the head slowly comes up out of the water and follows you around. I was like, that is a game that looks cool. Like, yeah.
So when I saw him snap his head around, I did not stop for nothing. So I didn't really notice like the head just slowly going above water, because I was too far in to get the head above water. So it's obviously following you a while, and like you end up getting to this one point to where the lily pads become a little bit more centered in the screen, and it snaps up and chases after you. So it's trying to hit down the lily pads. You even like go through like a mud section. So like, oh, they're using the mechanic they used for like the gooey blood section, the chunky creamy blood section for the mud. I'm like, okay, that's a nice little use of that. It's pretty much kind of the same kind of feeling to it. So it. Or another one is on the other side. I was assuming it was it, because like wouldn't you get like the idea that this is like one person? But it was just weird that you would see another one just in the background all of a sudden. But you do see another one in the background, and like it will do like a blast of sound at you this time. So you're going behind the rocks in between blasts. I put down here that reminded me a lot of that one section of Inside, to where you had the sound hit as well.
Yeah.
To where you kind of just standing in between the things. A lot of this game,
we also
Inside feels.
We also there's another game I think we all played. Was it God of War? Some other game
Yeah,
did this
probably. Yeah.
recently where I think it might have been where there's like a volcano creature. No, it might have been God of War. There was a volcano creature and it was exploding out. You know what it was? It was Senua. And it's
Got you.
blowing out and you're running between
That
the
makes sense.
things.
That sounds
That's
like
what it
a
was.
You're the
Senua
only
game.
Hellblade
one who
2.
played that, but yeah.
Yes, I was the only one that played that, but yes, it was recent. They did something similar.
Yeah, remind me a lot of Inside. You got a couple, like, it's more than just going between five. You got some, like, later on, some, like, rolling rocks. I think I tried to go a
Hmm.
little fast one time, and they tricked me
There's
by.
actually right in that first one. There's like three little those little Cabbage Patch Kids.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
They
were
get
there?
yeah, they get fucking
Oh,
ethered by
yeah,
that
push. Yeah, I
first
remember that.
blast.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, dude, it's wild. Yeah,
So you get past all those. There's like even one to where it's like they try to like, oh, yeah, obviously you're gonna go and wait for the rocks to fall down, so you get behind the rocks. They put
Hmm.
one that was the further one out first. So I'm like, okay, let's go behind it real quick. And as I'm like running towards that further out one, another one drops right behind it and just squishes the fuck out of me. So you get past this section and you slide down into some watery cave and find one of those other fables. It is about Nakin, about how you're being
Hmm.
bullied, end up using forbidden melodies to trance people to dance until their flesh and bone was worn down and they died. This also happened to his love, and that's where he retreated off into the pond to live out in sorrow and depression, I guess. Ended up luring more humans into there to their death.
Hmm.
So as you get out of the cave to a stream, kind of the edge, kind of looking off into the stream, Nakin pops up and scares you off into it as well. This is where you're doing the whitewater raft dodging.
yep.
Some rocks end up going off into the waterfall, but as you are propelled off into the waterfall, Nakin pops up, grabs you, and just is smiling at you as we're falling down. Cut to, we are now in this dark, dreary cave. You see Nakin in the background, obviously, I'm assuming dead, just like limping over, like curved
In
over a
desperate
rock.
need of a bacchiotomy.
Yeah, need the backing out of me. And this is where you wake up. I did not do anything after this. As soon as I got to a point where I could pause it and quit, I paused and quit. But this is where we will start off part two and go to the end. So everyone, overall feelings, how do we like it? I think we're all pretty positive on this game.
Yeah, I dig it. The only thing I was gonna say is I didn't get, like, so I don't know what your guys' like worst death was. Um, there was the section press where you were talking about like the other troll that you're like crawling against the moss like trying to avoid him or whatever. He caught me there once and he picks you up by your head, and the kid is like no, and he's like
Yeah.
waving his arms, and the guy just goes boop. And
Oh,
just, like,
Jesus.
crushes your head. Yeah, and then he just goes blip and just like hangs there, and I was like, oh shit!
Yeah.
Like
I don't think I ever got by a troll. I think the bear
No.
trap one probably
No,
was the
just
worst
that
one for
one,
me,
but
just
yeah.
because it scared the fuck out of me too. But yeah,
I'm very it's very cool. It's very creepy. It definitely has
Like the
something going
folklore.
for it. I think it's super super interesting.
Yeah. My worst death was the bear trap
Yeah, I think
death
so,
by
yeah.
far because it just hit me in a way where I just like exploded into pieces. Yeah, I mean, like we joked about at the beginning, like any sort of this European folklore right up my freaking alley, ticking all the boxes. So like,
Very cool.
I love the creepy, I love the spooky creatures. I love the darkness section that they've done. There are little things like at first I was like I would change this and that around like the kind of movement and the platforming and other stuff, but then I kind of like you said, Preston, you related this to Inside. I kind of got that
Got that
Inside feel, and
vibes, yeah.
I was like, yeah, I know what this game's going for. Like,
Yeah.
I'm fine with the
I
way it is.
wish
I understand it.
it's their
Yeah.
first game, so I'm not gonna hold it against them. But I wish there was a little more complex, like puzzle, like stuff with platforming. That's the only knock I get
Yeah.
against it. Who knows? Maybe second half is just full of the extreme difficult puzzles. But I just feel like everything is fairly simple, which is not a knock
Yeah.
against it. This is a narrative, like you're walking around just doing basic platforming, getting the story, getting the world, and I like that. But I could personally use a bit more complexity to it, personally.
Yeah, I am. Yes, I agree. I played further because I was really enjoying this game. Yeah, I know. I told you guys that
That's,
earlier.
that's your MO. Yeah.
I don't know that anything got too more complex, but there are more puzzles. There are some fun puzzles and stuff.
Sure.
But I just like understanding the achievements and the other stuff. Like, there's still a decent chunk of this game that we haven't seen, and if this what we've seen is the forest getting darker. I can't wait to see what is coming like further on and how it turns out. But yeah, man, right now, like I said, once I understood the vibe of what they're going for, like I'm enjoying it. I'm digging it. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Sure.
And it's casual. It's not too much of a mental drain for what I'm trying to do or too much thought process.
Yeah.
I
It's a
enjoy
nice
that as
little,
well.
yeah, quickie.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. So
Okay.
cool.
Well, yeah, next time we play this, we'll just finish up the game. Next week, I will be taking a little vacation off to St. Louis. I don't have a laptop or anything like that to do any recording, so I think these boys either they're going to do their own thing or we're just going to take a week off, whatever they choose to do. And then the following week
we'll
after
do a
that,
side quest.
Yeah, the
Yeah, we'll
following
get
week,
something.
following week after that, we'll be back to the book club. So,
Cool.
yeah, stay tuned and prepare to get finish up the game. And then, obviously, leading into Christians, which we all know what's going to be. So I'm excited to get into that as well.
I almost asked what is it gonna be, but now I
Yeah.
So
Stop
all right,
it. Stop it.
cool. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. If you've ever thought like, oh, I should play a game with these guys, you want to follow, this is a good one to do. It's light and it's easy to play, and you should try it out. But with that, thanks for hanging out with us. I can't wait to dive back into this. And don't forget, if you tune in earlier this week, Preston will be on an adjusted schedule in a few weeks for Star Wars, so make sure you keep up with that. With that, everybody, you know what to do, Preston.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or to check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcast. If watching is more your thing, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/@thetestingroom, or watch us live on twitch.tv/testingroomlive. To leave comments or ask questions, you can follow us on Instagram @testingroompod, leave a comment on YouTube, or send them in to testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.